Globalization has given firms many new opportunities to trade and to contribute to economic development. Globalization is the process where economies, societies, and cultures become increasingly interconnected through trade, investment, and technology. The characteristics of globalization include increased investment flows, world trade rising as a proportion of world GDP, and increased migration. Increased investment flows occur when businesses and individuals invest capital across borders, leading to greater economic integration. World trade rising as a proportion of world GDP means that a growing share of global economic output is driven by international trade rather than domestic production. Increased migration happens when people move between countries for work, education, or better living conditions, contributing to cultural exchange and economic growth. The factors that have contributed to globalization in the last 50 years include trade liberalization, capital market liberalization, political change resulting in the opening up of China and the former Soviet Union, reduced cost of transport and communications, and the increased significance of global companies. Trade liberalization involves the removal of tariffs, quotas, and other trade barriers, making it easier for goods and services to move across borders. Capital market liberalization refers to the relaxation of restrictions on financial flows, allowing businesses and individuals to invest internationally with fewer constraints. Political change resulting in the opening up of China and the former Soviet Union has integrated these large economies into the global market, increasing trade and investment opportunities. Reduced cost of transport and communications has made it cheaper and faster to move goods, people, and information across the world, facilitating economic globalization. The increased significance of global companies means that multinational corporations operate across multiple countries, influencing trade patterns, employment, and economic development on a worldwide scale. A developed economy is one where there is high industrialization, advanced technological infrastructure, and a high standard of living. An emerging economy is one where rapid industrialization and economic growth occur, but infrastructure, income levels, and market maturity are still developing. A developing economy is one where there is low industrialization, limited infrastructure, and lower income levels, leading to a lower standard of living. Each of these economic classifications means different levels of participation in globalization, with developed economies leading trade and investment, emerging economies expanding their global influence, and developing economies often relying on external support. The UK has experienced steady but slow economic growth since 2000 due to its mature market, high-income economy, and strong integration into global trade networks. BRIC consists of Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Brazil's economy has grown moderately since 2000 due to its reliance on commodities, with fluctuations in global demand affecting its integration into global markets. Russia's economy has experienced uneven growth since 2000 due to its dependence on oil and gas exports, with sanctions and political instability affecting its globalization. India has had high economic growth since 2000 due to its expanding service and technology sectors, leading to increased global trade and investment. China has experienced rapid economic growth since 2000 due to its manufacturing dominance, large-scale exports, and strong government investment in infrastructure and global trade. The indicators of growth include GDP per capita, literacy rates, health standards, and the Human Development Index. GDP per capita measures a country's total economic output per person, affecting globalization by indicating market potential and economic strength. Literacy rates measure the percentage of literate individuals in a population, affecting globalization by determining workforce skill levels and productivity. Health standards indicate the overall well-being of a population, affecting globalization by influencing labor efficiency and economic sustainability. The Human Development Index combines income, education, and life expectancy, affecting globalization by showing a country's development level and attractiveness for trade and investment. The characteristics of a developed economy include high income levels, advanced infrastructure, diversified industries, and strong institutions. Each of these characteristics means developed economies are major players in globalization, leading in trade, investment, and innovation while influencing global economic policies. The characteristics of an emerging economy include rapid industrialization, growing income levels, increasing foreign investment, and expanding infrastructure. Each of these characteristics means emerging economies are becoming more integrated into globalization, contributing to international trade and attracting multinational businesses. The characteristics of a developing economy include low income, limited infrastructure, reliance on agriculture, and weak institutions. Each of these characteristics means developing economies face barriers to globalization, relying on foreign aid, limited trade participation, and slower economic progress. Mean income is the average income of a population, calculated by dividing total earnings by the number of people. Median income is the middle income in a population, where half earn more and half earn less. Globalization affects mean and median incomes by influencing wage distribution, increasing income gaps in some regions while providing new economic opportunities in others. International trade is the exchange of goods and services between countries. International trade affects globalization by increasing economic interdependence and facilitating the movement of goods, services, capital, and technology across borders. Globalization affects international trade by expanding markets, reducing trade barriers, and encouraging competition between businesses worldwide. Specialization is the process where countries or businesses focus on producing goods and services they are most efficient at. Specialization impacts international trade by increasing efficiency, reducing costs, and encouraging countries to trade to obtain goods they do not produce. Trading blocs are groups of countries that form agreements to reduce or eliminate trade barriers between member states. The different types of trading blocs are free trade areas, customs unions, common markets, and economic unions. A free trade area removes tariffs and trade restrictions between member countries, increasing trade flows but allowing each country to set its own external tariffs. A customs union removes trade barriers between member countries and establishes a common external tariff, ensuring uniform trade policies but reducing national control over trade agreements. A common market allows free movement of goods, services, capital, and labor between member countries, increasing economic integration but requiring regulatory alignment. An economic union combines all elements of a common market with harmonized economic policies, leading to deeper integration but reducing national economic sovereignty. International trade affects the growth of an economy by increasing access to larger markets, boosting production, and creating employment opportunities. Growth impacts international trade by increasing demand for imports, enhancing production for exports, and attracting foreign investment. The difference between an import and an export is that an import is a good or service brought into a country from abroad, while an export is a good or service sold to another country. Visible imports and exports are physical goods traded between countries, such as cars and food. Invisible imports and exports are services traded internationally, such as banking, tourism, and insurance. These factors affect international trade by determining a country's trade balance, influencing currency value, and shaping economic policies. The impact of cheap imports on standards of living is that they lower prices for consumers, increasing purchasing power and access to a wider variety of goods. Exchange rates are the value of one currency in terms of another currency. The supply and demand for pounds are created through international trade, investment flows, and speculative activities in foreign exchange markets. The pound appreciates when demand for it increases or supply decreases, and it depreciates when demand falls or supply rises. The positives of an appreciation of the pound include cheaper imports, lower inflation, and increased purchasing power for consumers, and the negative impacts of an appreciation of the pound include reduced export competitiveness, a potential trade deficit, and slower economic growth. The positives of a depreciation of the pound include increased export competitiveness, higher domestic demand, and potential economic growth, and the negative impacts of a depreciation of the pound include more expensive imports, higher inflation, and reduced consumer purchasing power. To interpret exchange rate data, calculate the percentage change by subtracting the original exchange rate from the new exchange rate, then dividing by the original exchange rate. For example, if the pound appreciates from 1.20 to 1.30 against the US dollar, the percentage change is open parenthesis 1.30 minus 1.20 close parenthesis divided by 1.20 is equal to 0.0833 or 8.33%. Conversely, If the pound depreciates from 1.30 to 1.20 against the US dollar, the percentage change is open parenthesis 1.20 minus 1.30 close parenthesis divided by 1.30 is equal to minus 0.0769 or minus 7.69%. Effective exchange rates are a weighted average of a country's currency value compared to a basket of foreign currencies, reflecting its overall strength in international trade. Effective exchange rates are measured by weighting the exchange rates of a country's major trading partners based on their share in trade, then calculating the weighted average to determine the currency's overall performance. What makes an exchange rate effective is its ability to accurately reflect the economic conditions of a country, including supply and demand, inflation, and interest rates. Thank you for watching this video on life in a global economy. I'll see you in the next one.